And a very warm welcome. This is Mind Community. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. As always, I'm pleased that you have joined us. Now, during the last 3 weeks, a very interesting and inspiring narrative of community cohesion and development was revealed by Hamilton Lashley and Rodney Grant as they explored the Pine community's rich tapestry. Through their lenses, we witness how the art forms became the cornerstone of solidarity among its members. This community stands tall as a shining example, leading the way in community theatrical productions. In our last episode, Hamilton Lashley left us intrigued with tales of dramatic pieces that were performed by the members of the Pine community. Today, he takes us on a journey as he unveils their recognition and acclaim.
The one that was sent to France for the Cannes Film Award at the time was a film that I thought was the best production that we did. Now I look back at from a community standpoint, was one called Nigger Yard, you know? And that Nigger Yard, look at the colonial times. In that one, I played the role of a Rastaman. I remember my lines up to now, Sherwood. I remember my lines well. Yeah. Hey, man, the birth of a new nation. You know, how many white sons and daughters today in the field cutting cane, right? They born in cane. They will die about the cane. They do everything in the cane. But how many white people you see out there cutting cane? Not one of them. You know? And they just call me. That's how I get my name, Rastaman. I mean, Ja, Rastafari. Not making sport at the religion at all. That was serious. In fact, I had to, I remember incident, my hair was pretty long at the time. I didn't have natties or locks, but I had to pay the Rastaman named Peter. And I remember distinctly, we were filming in a Rasta, the Rastaman didn't know. But we saw the land open there. We wanted to do a particular scene from the production right over there. The director thought that that was the perfect spot. So I gone on, you know, I got my bag over my shoulder. I gone on in my old jeans, and I coming out he said, you know, get ready. Okay, action. And I come out, come, sweet chariot, come, deliver I from the wrath of Babylon. Rastaman from it. What this? I mean the words. This mock Rastaman about here talking about come, sweet chariot. And the back out with the cutlass. I ran all the way. We take off cross the road there opposite banks, because it was directly opposite banks. And we ran hard. We had some incidents filming that. Because we were filming also out in Wildy. At that time, Gollop had owned the land. He was the overseer. It was, you know, and we up there singing, sugarcane growing from my native land. I cut the sugarcane till it bad me hard. Because we give it a permission to film out here. And he come out and he ran me. We had to evacuate immediately. But I remember the best part of filming that is that I had this rich man, he was a pilot. He saw us filming and we ran him by him. We didn't maybe get him by him. At that time we didn't like, you know, we drinks a bit, you know. Not a bit, we didn't love drinking. And he had drinks that we never tasted before. He had brandy and whiskey and scotch and, you know, all different kind of drinks that we never see before. So, you know, we wasn't in a much of a hurry to leave. Then we left there, so almost all 80 of the bottles that he had, they empty, you know. But we enjoyed, that was all part of the filming process. We wouldn't let the children on anything, but we were the adults, you know, at the time. And we had a good time. But you see, doing community work is a labor of love, because a lot of sacrifices. And I thought the people of the Pine sacrificed immensely. Errol Boyce, he played on the cricketing part. He played a very significant role, you know, as a youthful leader at the time. And I want to tell this story to McCaskey. A lot of the Pine people, I went to work at the age of 14 years at the Civic Friendly Society. And the good thing about the Civic Friendly Society, because of my work ethic at the time, CB Lane who I believe was the most popular man in the city of Bridgetown, even more so than Ernest Dayton Motley, took me on, right, to work. Yes, because the civic had over 40,000 members, 40,000 poor people drawn from across Barbados. And the thing about it, the way I work, okay, and my brother Grant, actually, um, he employed a lot of people from the Pine. When I first went to work at the civic, I can tell them that I'm from the Pine. And then I'm from Gordon, because we had not moved from Gordon into the Pine. But the thing is that because of that kind of work ethic, a lot of the fellows from the Pine got work at the Civic Friendly Society. So my point, we were not all of that bad. We had a reputation that preceded us at the time. That's why you see when I was in Parliament, people used to feel that it was a comical thing, but it was a very serious thing, that it was a statement that I was making. I am Amila from the Pine. And I said that distinctly with a sense of purpose because, as I said earlier, we wanted that people wanted to know, could anything good come out of the Pine? Yes, a lot of good things came and people came out of the Pine. What a lot of people don't know about the Pine is that the Pine House in there has produced some of the best and most prolific entertainers Barbados ever produced. And if I start to call those names, which I would tell some of them, right, particularly at that time, and now what you will find very interesting is that those persons also played a role in the transformation of the Pine House in the area. So I would want to talk about those persons also and talk about the sportsmen. People will not believe that Smokey Burke was from the Pine, is Natalie Burke, right? Princess Royal. If you go into Princess Royal Avenue more, you have Michael Thompson, Clarence Thompson, TC, Terencia Coward, right? But she lived more in Parkinson Field and at times stood in Princess Royal Avenue. Then also you have Foxy Brown, Foxy Allen, sorry, Bert Panther Brown. You know, you have the bassman from the Opals. I used to say Bob, right? You remember? That was the bassman from the Opals. You also had Richard Stout, lived in the Pine for a while. Joseph Niles, he lived in the Pine for a while. In addition to that, Tony Grisette stood occasionally in the Pine. And you would not believe that Ivy, the state man, lived in Parkinson Field. At one time, Punka had a stint in the Pine. Now, I want to draw a distinction before I go on. We call, at that time, we call all of that the Pine. But then, because what we call Willie, we used to call all of that the Pine. But the distinction was made based upon the development of the community. So you had Pompey, who lived up there. Rita, she lived over in the Willie Park area. And you had there's so many entertainers that came out of the Pine House in the area. We are planning to do a resurgence program looking at in a kind of concert style, looking at the history of the Pine, the entertainers. And there's so many of those entertainers that came out of the Pine Housing area. It is a lot, okay?
Man, look, almost every singer I can think about now, and let me see if I can wrap my brain, come from the Pine. So let me start with some of the ones I can remember. So TC come from the Pine. He used to live in Parkinson Field. Rupi and his brother used to live on Regent Hill, right now in the corner from us. Joseph Niles, although he didn't come from the Pine, he used to drive in the Pine. So we could claim him. He was one of the first drivers that used to drive what we call now minivans, and he used to come up to the same MTW and turn and go back down Joseph Niles. He was called his singing driver, because he always used to be singing. So we could claim Joseph Niles. As I said, Dudley, I can't remember Dudley's other name, but he came from the Pine. He used to live in Parkinson Field. Actually, Smokey, just before he passed, was giving me a joke about Dudley, and Michael Grisette's, Tony Grisette's. Two of them Grisette's, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was giving me some joke about, happening in the center night. But Smokey Burke came out to the pine. Obviously, TC, Nat Lee came out to the pine as well. We had a young man there. He didn't make it on the international scene, but Frankie Brown was a good singer at the time. The guy Cassius Tate also came out. God rest his soul. He lived through my gap as well. So I had Cassius on one side on the left, and I had Richard Stout on the next end. So Cassius used to live at the top on this end, and Richard Stout at the top at the other end. I remember Cassius practicing us to do boxing in the early days, because he used to do snow cone. I used to practice also. You used to always got boxing gloves, and used to practice us boxing in the center as well. So we had him. We had, I know so many singers, Burt Panther Brown, also a product of the Pine as well. So there are a lot of good singers came out to the Pine, man. A lot of good singers, that's true.
Now, Desmond Burke, who was the same Sierra, left me and gone away. And Banter, they too from the Pine. Cassius Clay live in Region Hill in the Pine. Wally Elson and his brother Sandy Yatta live in Region Hill. So one of the first junior calypso kings in Barbados, Gary Ferguson, okay, he also is from the Pine. It's amazing. Even when Ronnie Clark and his brother, okay, they moved to the Pine. They live in Parkinson Field and part of Region Hill at the time. Interesting story. In terms, you know that Cassius was the middleweight champion of Barbados, but at the same time, you had Hurricane Jackson, another who was I think a lightweight champion in Barbados at the time. He lived in Region Hill. So the Pine has Gafluke Richards, he lived in St. Anne's Road. Neville Simmons, who was known as a very good singer of the time, he lived in Midway Lane, and also the Draytons too. A lot of people don't know that one of the Draytons, he lived in the Pine too. He had a shop down in Meadow Road. We could call Romeo. He came out to the Pine also. He lived down in Meadow Road in that area. He was a former Calypso king of Barbados. And Kemal, he came out of the Pine also. He'd come out to Oakley Lane. And we could go on and call so many of these entertainers came out of the Pine. I remember the clashes between Mike Thompson and Mickey D at the time. That was when the young generation took over the areas. When you go to the drill hall, when you go to Queen's Park, where the main police sports club at the time, where the main entertainment areas were, the Marine House. You know what I mean? And it was a proud thing to hear on the radio in those people from the Pine are main crowd drawers. And I'm not saying that Mickey D was the Pine, he wasn't. But the youngsters from the Pine had a prominent role to play at that time in the entertainment annals of the Pine. TC lived in Parkinson Field a lot, right? And Princess Royal, a lot of them came out of that Pine house in the area that was stigmatized, bastardized, and ostracized as the worst community. The Pine has produced many outstanding persons. I know one thing that baffled people at the time, at that time, young Michael Roach and his wife produced two of his sons at that time sat the 11 plus exam, and both of them passed for Harrison College. So that gives us now a sense of, we got two young men going to Harrison College, some going to Commermere. We felt good. We felt good as a people that we could produce children of quality. At that, I have my issues with 11 plus, but at that time, that was a tremendous achievement, not only for the Roach family, but for us as people from the Pine. And we had older mentors, people like Snow, who played a very important role. He was a singer,
Interestingly enough, this underscores the importance of mentorship and the need for tailored developmental programs for our youth within our communities. Now on to community tales. These are not the type of stories that we celebrate, but they occurred here. And a young Hamilton Lashley and his fellow youngsters could not resist the temptation of paying close attention to the responses of community members to their personal matters. Today, Hamilton Lashley looks back on them with laughter.
But you know what? I remember, I remember Sundays in the Pine used to be a special day. Believe you me, if a person have a marital problem or they're going through stress with the boyfriends and reverse, you know what I mean? You could tell who that person was. You could identify the problem that they're going through. People want to know, but how we're talking about having a every Sunday morning in the Pine. You remember a lot of those ladies were domestic servants. They were, they work in that kind of strenuous work. Most of them were single mothers of large households. That's a sociological fact. There were very few fathers in the homes at the time. So you could tell who was, put it this way, going through stress in their home. And how you know that? Every Sunday morning, you would hear they put on the music, the radio up to all, and those who had what we call radiograms would put on the record player, and you should hear this song. And the one that they liked the best was this one, Day After Day, More Confused. So I looked to the light for the pouring rain. And they would be singing that, they'd be drinking, or you would hear, why did you run away from me? You know, so all of them heartbreak songs, you know what I mean? They will be playing. So we know, you see, she, in the house there, she get hard, you know. If we would know everybody who gets through stress with their husband. They had a gentleman named, in the Pine, we used to call him Tools. He was the only man that could curse. Like he had a dictionary. Every cussing you or anybody in the Pine, he didn't used to repeat one curse word twice. So he had a dictionary of curse words. Very popular character, very popular character. And while the women singing them sad songs, the men now inside the rum shops early by the morning, and they're talking politics, and they're drinking, and they would see me my nickname at the time. You would not believe it, before he entered into politics. My nickname at the time, they used to call me Ramila. And the reason why they used to call me Ramila is because I was the youngest. So they would see me early, the old man coming, Hamida, come, God, Hamida, come. Man, come fire one here, man. Come and fire one. So I go on, and I fire one, I fire two, I fire three, I get drunk, they're going to carry me home, or put me by the Parkinson Community Center to lay down and sleep it off. But behind all of that, that kind of mix-up thing, that mix-up relationship, I get to know every single person in the Pine home. I mean, almost every single person in the Pine home. If I didn't get any unknowingly, unwittingly at the time. We mixed up with the children. We were so close together. The Pine was like a family. You know what I mean?
From lending a helping hand in times of need to rejoicing in each other's triumphs. That which has been told of this community is a testament to the power of collective strength. It's in their support and commitment to one another that the Pine community finds its greatest strength. And that strength has served as an inspiration to us all. We are in the process of producing a special series titled From Pine to Parliament, where Hamilton Lashley will present his full story, his journey from this community to the House of Assembly. That will be shown at a later date. As you are aware, this community has been an integral part of his journey. Our final segment in this mini-series on the Pine presents the heavy influence of the community on the life of one of its own.
I remember, I must stay in this part though. What was interesting, so I was barefoot. I was also what they consider to be an alcoholic at the time. In 1994, when the election came, that's a different story altogether. But I just give this little bit. In 1994, when the elections was called, I remember a politician said, "We don't really get people to vote for Hamidado. All he can do if he get elected is go to the bar. He can be a barman. He can be barely serving drinks to the rest of the politicians. That kind of man that would have won in Parliament." But what that politician did not know is that all of that time, me and the people, particularly in the Pine, became one family. And then another politician said, "You can up here and vote for a barefoot." Because you walk up barefoot. A barefoot man, we're not really going to put that kind of person in Parliament. Because Parliament's supposed to be a hallowed and treasured. And there's uppity place where lawyers and doctors and engineers, them kind of elitist people were elected to. But here it is, though, you got a barefoot where I'm drinking from the Pine. In the eyes of most people who did not know me, and the role that I played in the Pine, going into Parliament. So you know what they did? And this was a mark of solidarity. The week leading up to the election, every single person that could have walked in the Pine, and most of them, I can't say every single person, took off their shoes and walk in barefoot, walk barefoot, or walk in slippers as a mark of solidarity. So that actually spoke volumes to what their intention was on election day. I remember, because a long story, I will not talk about the lead up and all of that yet, that's for another time. But I can tell you the conclusion of it. The conclusion is that one of the supporters of my mayor contender at well, he was the incumbent at the time, Mr. Delay Bradshaw, a person that I have a great deal of respect for. Because one thing, the persons that I have ran against have never ever, I've never really had any contentious views of it, because I understood politics well. Myself and Dean Whitaker, we are still good friends, but fabulous friends still. In fact, all the people that I ran, those two men is who I ran against. But you know what is interesting? That day, election day, the 6th of September, 1994, when I took a curious look went up to Parkinson School, one of Brady's representatives said to me, "Man, what you doing go down with them? Man, we done got you beat by over 1,000 votes." Well, I was happy to hear that, because I was trembling. I ain't got to go to Parliament. I can't talk that kind of political talk. Nothing so, you know what I mean? But one person who was with me turned and said to him, and that made me feel good. I now get beat by 1,000 votes, over 1,000 votes. He said, but at least we had one of our own people that ran again, that ran for this area. You know what I mean? Meaning me. So they felt good that I did. They had a person from among them to represent that ran for the seat. Now the night time in 1994, it was the 7th of September, because if you remember the scenario well, you remember that I was the last person constituency that was called by the electoral office. So we did down under a tree in Region Hill, me and about 6 of we, drinking some ESA field white rum. At the time we did drinking. I saw Walmart there, I said, "Man, let me call up by the school," because that was the main counting office, meaning Parkinson School. I see how much votes we get beat by though. We get beat by, they didn't see me. I said, all right. Then we go up by a lady named Miss Newton, because where we was strategic. We could see the school, we could see the policemen walking up and down, and we decided that we could, they tell me to call. So I took out a kerchief from a towel, a face towel, from in my pocket and placed it over the phone. You know, like you will see in the movies, because we were fascinated by the movies. So I put it over the phone and I had it like this. Now to me watching the policeman up there walking up and down. And I said, we walked, the phone ringing. We saw him walking, going to the staff room. Then he picked up the phone. And I said, could you tell me how much vote, how much the last you got beaten by? The policeman at the end and was before said, I mean, you know, I gotta go home and my wife and my children, why you don't get here? You wait to see. I said, I wait. Now they didn't know behind me what he tell me, but they only hear the word ring, and everybody all around, I beloved. And then it was pandemonium. You know what I mean? But I knew. Then, remember I used to be drinking a lot after that time. On the 7th of September 1994, at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I stopped drinking. You know why? I realized the representation of people is an awesome responsibility. And this journey that I was upon had now started. So much so, Sherwood, that same night, in all the rejoicing, the rain was pouring, you know, and it was like a freak storm had occurred right there then when it was announced. You know, when I got in the office now to speak to the people and to you know, celebrate, so to speak. They were already, but they wanted to hear me speak. Phone ring. Yeah, hello. Hamida, come down here, York. There's a gun fire down here. That's when I knew, okay, what my mission in politics was, right? From then until now. And, you know, so when I mention all of those persons that from the Pine, I know they had the same aspiration, the same ambition, and I know they will give it their best once elected or selected at the time. And I think that is one of the most prominent and important features of the Pine.
Well, the Pine stands out as a community that has provided many opportunities for its members to excel. The story to be learned is that you are given opportunities so that you can later help others and provide them with even better opportunities and allow that cycle to continue, seizing the opportunities and making the most of them. That sums up the Pine. Rodney Grant and Hamilton Lashley have now joined with Eleanor Brathwaite, who presented her story of the Pine in 2022. Collectively, they have contributed to the intangible heritage of this wonderful community. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. This has been My Community, the Pine. Thanks for your time.
Everywhere.